We are here. It is time for yet another episode of, I guess we'll call this regroup phase. We're not doing our typical preview coverage, spoiler coverage, whatever you specifically want to call it this week, because I am currently out of town. So, in order to be able to continue providing you all with some form of content throughout the period of time that I'll be gone, I decided to showcase to you all my current Twin Suns deck list. And the Twin Suns deck that I am currently playing is the Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, Vigilance using the base Capital City. And I don't have too much experience with this. I've played about one game with it. This isn't like how to beat your opponents with the best Mandalorian deck. It was literally what stuff can I throw together to make a cool Twin Suns list that features all of my favorite characters from the Mandalorian and having different things associated with that television series or Mandalorian culture, depending on which cards are actually in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through every card in the deck, showcase to you what rarities I have those cards at currently as of recording this video, and what I'll be chasing after if it's not already at max rarity. So sit back, relax, enjoy this deck tech, I guess we'll call it. Lots of different I guesses today. And check out this deck that I think is actually pretty cool to play. So here we go. We've got the list. Luke with his little damaged combat and Anakin saber in the back. Not really the point. We got our deck here, Twin Suns. As we said, we're starting out with the Mandalorian. We do have the hyperspace foil version of this. I'm not really calling this technically a hyper foil because it's different in my eyes. Pre-release promo Mandalorian. This is at max rarity that's available for me at the moment. Obviously, showcase would be better. I am trying to get that, but I'm not expecting it anytime soon. I do have Bo-Katan Kryze here. I do have a hyperspace being traded for literally today. As soon as I go to my locals, I'll be trading for that and a bunch of other stuff. So, but there you go. These are our two leaders. They do both deploy on 6. Ideally, you probably want something that deploys on 6 and 7 or 5 and 6. Different things, but because all the Mandalorians deploy, except for Sabine, deploy at 6, that's what we do. We have Capital City. I would like to use something like Death Watch Hideout, obviously, but because there are so many Mandalorian cards in Vigilance, we need to be able to play those without too much of an aspect penalty. And this kind of looks like the capital city of Mandalore in that couple of episodes of Clone Wars. Starting off with our units, we have ourselves our organized play Sabine Wren. I am trying to chase down the OP foil version of this. Great 2-cost Mando to start with. We have Follower of the Way. The hyperspace is currently in this deck, but the hyper foil is in Actually, this is the Way collection, not necessarily the deck itself. So we already have secured the hyperfoil version of this. We don't have to worry about that. A hyperfoil Clan Ren Rescuer. We only have the base Housecast Soldier. I'm surprised I haven't even hit just like a regular foil, but we'll be chasing the hyperfoil of this. Pretty much everything is going to be hyperfoil unless I say otherwise, or attempted to be hyperfoil unless I say otherwise. But Housecast Soldier. We have a Ketsu Onyo. This was something fun that I was able to pull as part of some packs that I had available to me. We have a Grief Karga, not a Mando, but does support the Mando strategy of grabbing upgrades. And we do already have this in hyperspace, so this is technically max rarity. Got a Grogu, ideally event Grogu, but I'll also be chasing down the hyperspace from the Organized Play Program packs. So minimum rarity here. We have a Queel. I think I have a foil of this in This is the Way collection, but I'm not entirely sure. So this is just basically the regular uncommon. I do have fancy hyper foil Disabling Fang Fighter. This is from SOR, so it is technically the first version of it. I was happy to pull that in a pack. We have a hyperspace Protector of the Throne. This actually, I think, does really get some good benefit because there are some fun upgrades you can attach to him, and there are other ways you can get those upgrades onto him. Hyperfoil Mandalorian Warrior. I believe I pulled this as part of This is the Way collection and just threw it into this deck as it is. We have Concord Dawn Interceptors. This is the Way has the foil version, but we're still chasing the hyper foil. We got Village Protectors in here, mainly because it is part of the Mandalorian. I believe it was Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 4. So we have just hyperspace, obviously chasing down the hyper foil. We have a foil Night Owl Skirmisher. This probably ends up being used as a smuggle target more often than not. Fun little foil there. Everything in this is double sleeved into katana sleeves. So that's why I'm trying to like flatten them out as I go. We have the hyperspace version of Koska Reeves, still chasing down that hyperfoil, but that's okay. Regular Razor Crest, the hyperfoil, the hyperspace max rarity version is already acquired, just in a separate collection at the moment. Once all that gets combined in, we'll be able to make some rarity upgrade bumps here. We do have a hyperspace the Armorer. Obvious card is obvious. We have IG-11 foil here currently. We will be trying to chase down the hyperfoil of this as per previous parts of the conversation. He was part of episode 1 and I think like episode 8 of the first season of The Mandalorian. So that's super fun to have here in here. Handy, he's aggression, usable. We do have a Hyperfoil Clan Challengers, managed to trade for 2 of these, which is awesome. So one of these is in one deck, and then the other one is in this deck. Survivor's Gauntlet, no rarity up bump just yet, but it is a Mandalorian and allows me to move upgrades around, which is fun. Fen Rao, no upgrade bump as of yet. So just a flat uncommon. I did manage to pull a foil Mandalorian in a random box I opened, which was very nice. Trying to get a hyperfoil of a legendary is going to be tough, but we have trade stuff for it just in case. Hyperspace Fennec Shand, Season 1 and Season 2, and then also Book of Boba Fett, which is fantastic. We have a foil version of Wanted, trying to upgrade this to Hyperfoil. Speaking of Hyperfoil, I think we have a couple of these in a row. We have Public Enemy. We are running the bounties because those do help with the Mandalorian's effect of being able to exhaust things. And because there are multiple targets and not everybody is going to be able to sidestep the HP requirement for the Mando's effect, this should be usable and at least gives another player an opportunity to do something fun if we don't get to it first. Hyperfoil Guild Target, super easy. We are running all 3 of the 0 cost upgrades, which will be fantastic and easy to run. Do have a Hyperfoil Rich Reward. This is a fantastic looking card here. Hyperfoil, Hyperspace, all of it. We are running Top Target also in Hyperfoil. Fun. Not running Deathmark in this deck. I just think that's a little too expensive as far as I remember. We do have a foil Hotshot DL44 Blaster, excellent card, able to smuggle all kinds of fun stuff. Hyperspace Snapshot Reflexes. We have a Hyperfoil Resilient. I saved this from set 1. I'm glad I did. This is an excellent card for this deck. We have a Hyperspace Foundling. We don't need to worry about making too many things Mandalorians for the Mandalorian targets, but if we wanted to make Queel or Grogu or IG-11 a Mandalorian, we can do so at the cost of 1. Hyperspace Heroic Resolve. This is a fantastic card. A quick +4 and overwhelm against the target is super handy. A foil Mandalorian armor. We have a Hyperspace Vambrace Grapple Shot. If I were to make any changes to the deck, this is probably one of the first cards that gets removed because I still don't think this card is very good. But it's in here because it's thematic. We do have a Vambrace Flamethrower. This is the Way collection has the Hyperspace version of this, so that'll be able to trade in once we merge the collections here towards Twilight of the Republic. Hyperspace Mandalorian's Rifle, fantastic. Still wish these could come in Hyperfoil versions in the OP packs, but you know, there's only so much we can do. Darksaber, this one is probably going to be super hard to get in any other rarity, so I may end up just trying to see if I can find and buy the Hyperfoil. As expensive as it probably will be. Hoping this continues to drop as people find out that it's good, but not the best. We do have a Hyperspace Covert Strength. We do have a Hyperspace Daring Raid. I think I have a Hyperfoil of this floating around in one of my collections. I need to try to find that. Hyperspace Surprise Strike. Hyperspace, this is the way. Did you know that the value, at least of recording, of this card at Hyperfoil is $15? I know why. It's because it's a beautiful card, but it's not very good. Foil Spare the Target. This is one of our fun little in-universe waylays that we get to use. We do have a Hyperspace Relentless Pursuit, which is fantastic. Speaking of waylays, Hyperfoil Waylay. Decided to go with the Hyperfoil instead of the Foil Organized Play Program pack version because I just think this looks better with the way that it's set up. We are running Chaos of War and Rallying Cry, both of them at Hyperspace. This will cost us 5 for play, but I think that's okay, especially with some people wanting to do card draw and then being able to give all of my stuff raid 2 once I have a bigger board set up. I think that's an interesting way of getting this set up for cards in the set. We have the Showdown Takedown. So this is the max rarity for this card effectively. If I do happen to get a Hyperfoil Takedown, I'll probably swap that in, but it's not something I'm going to be searching for specifically. Fell the Dragon. I might have a foil of this somewhere. This will probably be another card that gets swapped out, maybe even if I can find my Hyperfoil Vanquish to be able to just defeat a non-leader as opposed to non-leader unit with 5 or more power. So, and then we do have a Hyperfoil Rivals Fall. So this is a the deck actually is kind of short on units, but unfortunately with the way that Mandalorians and the Mandalorian adjacent cards, there's not really too much I can do about it. Kind of hoping that some of these upgrades, being able to exhaust and do some extra power attacks, can help me control the board against my opponents. and hopefully we can get some cool stuff there. But that is the deck, and you know, I'd love to be able to showcase these out at some point in time, but we'll have to see how that works for us in the future. And there it is. That's the deck. Like I said, a little bit low on units. It runs about half the deck in terms of units and the other half of upgrades and events. Hopefully having the control variants and other opponents means that it's not going to cause me too much of an issue to not have a very unit heavy deck. As we tried to say, there are only so many Mandalorian units or units that are tied to the Mandalorian television series itself. Once we get more sets, hopefully Twilight Republic has some more Mandalorians we can throw into that deck. Lots of other fun things. I do like having that suite of the 0 and 1 cost bounties in the deck. The guild target, public enemy, wanted for 0 costs, rich reward, and top target for the previous ones were 0 costs, a top target and rich reward for 1 costs. And having all those 5 bounties together to be able to proc off the Mandalorian's effect seems like it's going to be pretty fun. Having access to the hot shot blaster and the snapshot reflex is another really fun thing. Surprise strike to be able to attack. We have the 2 pieces of return and hand removal and spare the target and waylay. So there's a lot of pieces there that should be able to deal with the opponent's stuff, and mainly relying on being able at 6 to be able to do the double flip and get out there and do some cool stuff with what we have in that deck. Obviously, the most expensive targets to be able to pull into that deck to do a max rarity Twin Suns deck would be the Mandalorian and the Darksaber, and then the 2 showcases, the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan. So those will probably be things that I have to slowly get over time, and hopefully as they add more Mandalorians, less of them are legendary. So we'll see. I believe we should be getting a Satine Kryze. We've seen the art for it in Twilight Republic, so hopefully that's something in this color combination, aspect combination, although they could throw her as command because the Sundari Peacekeeper is that. So we'll have to see how that plays out. We might change things up if there ends up being a different leader option down the line for Mandalorians. We could see a change in the way that the leaders are set up. But right now, aggression, cunning, vigilance, heroism, we got it all down. Super fun stuff to go off of there. If you have any suggestions about what you think I should add to this deck in terms of keeping it within the theme of the Mandalorian, let me know. I know there's a lot of cards that are probably better to play than what I am currently playing. I might even throw that Sundari Peacekeeper in there anyway because it becomes a 5-drop. And while it's not great for a 5-drop, it might be decent for a 5-drop in Twin Suns. So let me know what your favorite Twin Suns combination is, and if you've played a lot of games, in the comments below. Remember to like and comment on this video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for Aria Star Wars Unlimited needs. We are, like I said, technically on vacation at this moment, so this has been pre-recorded, and hopefully when I come back I'll have a bunch of fun videos to be able to drop on to YouTube for y'all. Thank you for joining me, folks. Appreciate each and every one of you, and with that I will see you in the stars.